Ever since the Redmi K90 Max launched, a lot of people have been wondering what Redmi could possibly do with the K90 Ultra. Now we finally have the answer. Instead of simply upgrading to a newer chipset, Redmi has taken a different route by pairing the Snapdragon 8 Elite with an active cooling fan, giving the phone a unique identity in this price segment. Some of you might be asking why Redmi would launch a Snapdragon 8 Elite phone in June 2026 instead of using the latest processor. That's a fair question.
A quick shout out to my tech partner from China for sharing this video. A big thank you for making this possible. Hey everyone, it's Maiky from techmaiky. If you love staying updated with the latest gadgets, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out our exciting tech content. But the K90 Ultra doesn't just add a cooling fan, it also comes with a larger battery. Together, these upgrades help make up for the processor generation gap in the areas that matter most during real-world use, allowing Redmi to create something different from the competition. In my Redmi K90 Max review, I mentioned that adding a fan to a smartphone isn't just about lowering temperatures. It allows the processor to sustain higher performance for longer, making the phone feel more future-ready. The K90 Ultra uses exactly the same cooling system as the K90 Max, including the identical airflow layout, the same large internal fan, and the clever vent design that directs airflow straight toward the back panel. So, how well does it actually perform? During my 70-minute Genshin Impact test, the final 40 minutes of gameplay recorded an average frame rate of 60 FPS. Even the 1% low frame rate reached 57.3 FPS, which is an outstanding result for a Snapdragon 8 Elite device. In other words, thanks to the active cooling, frame rate stability remained excellent from start to finish. Looking at the captured data, the game rendered at 887p, which is currently the highest default rendering resolution. Power consumption was also impressive at just 4.3 watts. With the room temperature sitting at 28 degrees Celsius, the highest temperature on the front of the phone reached only 40.5 degrees, while the back peaked at 39.2 degrees. For this level of workload, the K90 Ultra handled it comfortably. Next, I enabled the dedicated graphics chip's triple frame interpolation mode to run Genshin Impact at 165 FPS. After another 30 minutes of gameplay, the average frame rate came in at around 167.1 FPS, while the 1% low frame rate remained a very stable 137.9 FPS. Power consumption increased to 5.5 watts, but for the fan-equipped K90 Ultra, that still wasn't a major issue. The highest temperature recorded was 43.3 degrees Celsius on the front and 41.8 degrees Celsius on the back. There's another important detail worth mentioning. Even after 100 minutes of continuous gaming, the battery still had 80% charge remaining. After that, I moved on to the Iron Gold mode test for another 30 minutes. Keep in mind that by this point, including the previous Genshin Impact sessions, the phone had already been running games continuously for 130 minutes, well over 2 hours. This was designed to simulate long gaming sessions in a relatively warm environment. During this test, the average frame rate reached 59.76 FPS, while the 1% low frame rate measured 37.46 FPS. Power consumption climbed to 7.1 watts, which is indeed higher than what we see on most current flagship platforms. That's mainly due to the processor generation difference. However, aside from drawing more power, the gaming performance itself is fully comparable to devices powered by the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. Rendering resolution wasn't compromised either. The game ran at the current maximum of 972p, so image quality remained excellent throughout the test. Temperature is where this phone really shines. The front peaked at just 44.6 degrees Celsius, while the back reached 43.9 degrees. That's noticeably cooler than several recently tested flagship phones relying only on passive cooling. That naturally raises another question. How does the Snapdragon 8 Elite perform in demanding games if you turn the fan off? To find out, I ran the Iron Gold mode for 30 minutes both with and without the fan enabled. With the fan running, the average frame rate was 59.8 FPS. The 1% low was 38.68 FPS, and power consumption measured 6.97 watts. With the fan disabled, the average frame rate was still 59.6 FPS, the 1% low came in at 37.37 FPS, and power consumption dropped slightly to 6.77 watts. At first glance, some people might think the fan doesn't make much difference, but that's because the real advantage isn't the frame rate, it's the temperature. With the fan enabled, the highest back temperature reached only 42.8 degrees Celsius. Without the fan, the back of the phone climbed all the way to 50.6 degrees Celsius. So while both tests delivered similar performance numbers, achieving those results without active cooling required much more aggressive performance scheduling and resulted in an extremely hot device. With the fan running, performance remained far more consistent and comfortable. That's exactly why the fan is so important for the Snapdragon 8 Elite. It isn't just about cooling, it helps maintain stable performance over long gaming sessions. There's another benefit beyond lower temperatures: overall system stability. With the fan turned on, even after a total of 130 minutes of continuous testing, I switched over to browsing Weibo and the system still maintained a smooth 120 FPS with no frame drops at all. Things were different without the fan. After about 30 minutes, once the phone's temperature exceeded 50 degrees Celsius, the system refresh rate dropped to 60 FPS. Thanks to its strong passive cooling, it recovered back to 120 FPS after roughly 3 to 4 minutes, but the frame rate drop still happened. So what do I mean when I say the K90 Ultra has a much higher performance ceiling, or that the fan effectively closes the performance gap? To demonstrate that, I found one of the most demanding maps available on the StarTrain platform. After running it continuously for 30 minutes, the phone reached an average power draw of 9.04 watts. For a smartphone, maintaining a workload of over 9 watts is an incredibly demanding stress test.
Even under that extreme workload, the Redmi K90 Ultra continued to perform impressively. It maintained an average frame rate of 59.8 FPS, while the 1% low frame rate stayed close to 40 FPS. Temperature control was equally impressive, with the front reaching a maximum of 46.4 degrees Celsius and the back staying below 46 degrees. This clearly shows the value of the built-in cooling fan. First, it allows the Snapdragon 8 Elite to deliver gaming performance on par with newer flagship platforms, while keeping temperatures much lower. Second, it enables the phone to sustain long gaming sessions and handle a demanding 9-watt workload that would be extremely difficult for a passively cooled phone to maintain. That's exactly why I call it future-proof. Even if future games become more demanding with better graphics and higher frame rates, the K90 Ultra still has enough thermal headroom to keep up. The other major upgrade is the battery. The K90 Ultra packs a massive 8,550 mAh battery, and I think this is another smart decision by Redmi. Even though the Snapdragon 8 Elite isn't the newest chipset anymore, it's still a flagship processor with excellent power efficiency. To test that, I ran a 3-day real-world battery evaluation across 3 different usage scenarios, and you can see the results shown on screen. After simulating 4 hours of heavy use, my K90 Ultra still had 52.56% battery remaining. In my opinion, that's an excellent result and places it among the best performers in terms of battery life. Using this same testing method, another phone would typically deliver around 8 hours of total usage. Thanks to the combination of the huge battery and the Snapdragon 8 Elite's efficiency, the K90 Ultra remains one of the strongest battery performers available today. Normally, when a processor generation is updated, the biggest improvements come in gaming performance and battery life. Redmi has effectively compensated for those differences on the K90 Ultra, which is why I think the team had a very clear product strategy. Considering that memory prices continue to rise, pairing the Snapdragon 8 Elite with an active cooling fan while keeping the pricing competitive makes a lot of sense. Charging is handled by 100-watt wired fast charging, which takes around 50 minutes to fully charge the phone. That's a solid result.
When I placed the K90 Ultra beside the K80 Ultra, I was honestly surprised because it didn't feel much heavier in hand. Officially, it's only 8 grams heavier, yet it includes a battery that's 1240 mAh larger, an active cooling fan, a redesigned metal air grill, and improved durability. Because of that, I think the in-hand feel is actually very similar to the K80 Ultra. From the front, the design doesn't look dramatically different, but the K90 Ultra introduces the new M10 luminous display material along with a 165 Hz refresh rate. Around the back, the design will already be familiar if you've seen the K90 Max, although the air intake layout has been redesigned. The main camera is also familiar. It uses the same Light Hunter 800 sensor found on the K90 Max, so I won't spend too much time discussing camera performance in this review. Instead, what's more impressive is the hardware package. The K90 Ultra features dual 1115X symmetrical speakers tuned with sound by Bose, just like the K90 Max. It also includes the same 0815 X-axis linear vibration motor. The cooling fan itself supports IPX8 and IPX9 protection, while the phone carries IP68 and IP69 dust and water resistance ratings. You also get an ultrasonic in-display fingerprint scanner. Overall, the feature set is almost identical to the K90 Max. So the biggest difference between the K90 Ultra and the K90 Max really comes down to the processor. As for HyperOS 3 running on this flagship platform, I've shared my thoughts before. It's something you'll appreciate once you spend some time using the phone yourself. When it comes to system stability, the results speak for themselves. Thanks to the cooling fan, the K90 Ultra can handle extended periods of heavy gaming without suffering frame drops. I do think there's still room for improvement when it comes to high refresh rate support. Since this phone combines a flagship chipset, a huge battery, and active cooling, video apps should ideally run at higher frame rates by default, so you'll probably want to enable those settings manually. Overall, the K90 Ultra perfectly fills the gap between the K90 and the K90 Max. With memory prices continuing to increase, Redmi has chosen to compensate for the processor generation difference by adding a larger battery and an active cooling fan, making the phone highly competitive where it matters most, in real-world use. The Snapdragon 8 Elite combined with Redmi's active cooling system delivers stable performance during extended gaming sessions and can even sustain an extreme 9-watt workload. Calling its gaming performance excellent would not be an exaggeration. The upgraded battery easily ranks among the best I've tested, and when you combine that with Redmi's traditionally generous hardware specifications, it's hard to find another phone at this price offering so much. Of course, photography isn't the K90 Ultra's biggest strength, and that's something buyers should keep in mind. Now, I'm especially looking forward to seeing the official price because Redmi has a reputation for surprising everyone with aggressive pricing, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do it again this year. That's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.